Hey, everybody. I'm so glad to have you back. We got another exciting episode for you. We got two great folks here that are from Aspire Love, and they are wedding planners, and they're going to describe to you what they do, how they do it, and how it all started. And so I have with me Nedra. Is it Miller Hood? Did I get
Yes,
it
Miller's
right?
my maiden name.
All
My
right.
last name is Hood.
All right. And then Melanie Broadbridge.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, listen, wedding planning. I know it's a lot of work and it pulls all your hair out. As you notice, I have 3 kids and I don't have any hair left. And that's because, yeah, it's a lot of thinking and planning, and you have so much going on and a lot of emotions. So tell me, what possessed you two to be wedding planners?
Well, I'll start with myself. I planned
Okay.
my own wedding back in 2012, and I enjoyed every single stage of the process. And I hear from a lot of brides they don't like the process of wedding planning, but I did. I love to plan. I love to make lists. I love to check them off with different color pens. I mean, I'm the crazy
Oh.
bridezilla who wants to take control. So I love wedding planning. I do. And I love what you get after the wedding's over, just seeing what you planned and seeing how beautiful it can be. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do wedding planning.
Okay.
And
Melanie?
I the same way. I planned my wedding in 2021 and absolutely loved every minute of it. And I heard so many people that said you're crazy for loving it. And but it was just fun. I'm the same with Nedra, and I think that's why we are such a great team, is that I love lists. I love crossing things off and checking them and color coordinating and all of that. We work really well hand in hand on that. And so we're both very organized individuals. So it's just fun for us to plan things.
Oh, that's great. I mean, that is a talent in itself. I mean, I plan a little bit, but I cannot do that. That's just way beyond me for sure. So, all right. So now you both did your own weddings.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you guys meet and decide to put this together, this business?
Well, we both are anesthetists, and we met as coworkers at a hospital in Cary, and we just hit it off, and we get along very well, and thought that this would be just a great idea for us to try this endeavor and do this for a living. So that's how we created the company.
Awesome. So was it like for a better phrase, was it love at first sight? Did you guys get together and said, yeah, this is the two of us, we're going to knock it out, and this is the best thing in the whole world? Or
well,
was there?
I do love Melanie. Yes, I do. But in 2021, she was planning her wedding, and that's when I told her I planned my own wedding and how much I enjoyed it as I saw all her books that she would bring to work and all her lists. I'm like, I love to do wedding planning. This is something that we should do.
Okay.
And so we waited until after she got married. I gave her a couple of months or so just to, consummate her marriage and do all the things you do.
Right.
And I called her that next year in 2022. And I'm like, you ready? I'm ready. Are you ready to get this started? And we met, we thought of names. Of course, we had a list of names, and we crossed things that we didn't like. We didn't want it to seem too generic. And we came up with Aspire Love. So
okay. I think it's a fitting title.
Thank you.
It's very good. What so besides the planning, do you do any hands-on and all the other parts? I mean, there's a lot of parts to putting a wedding together. Or do you bring in your own team or other teams, or how's this all work?
I feel like we're as hands-on as the bride wants us to be.
Okay.
Well, if the bride wants to do a lot of the vendor searching, we are totally fine with that, and we are amenable to letting that bride choose what vendors that she wants, and we can help with organizing with those vendors and ensuring that they're set up for her wedding day. Or if the bride doesn't want to do any of that, then we are amenable to searching for those vendors for her. We're as hands-on or hands-off as the bride wants us to be. We love doing it, so we're totally fine doing all of that legwork that most brides don't want to do.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the things I found out with my kids when they were doing their weddings. We did a lot of the things, but there was still some things just like, no, this is I don't want to touch that. Let's get
Mhm.
somebody together. So you have
Mhm.
like a good reputable list of people that you work with. Are you always looking for other folks, third parties to help you with different sections of it, or how does that work for you?
I feel we're always searching. You know, in this industry, it's almost like a revolving door. There are so many different brands and so many different themes that are on point and are current. So we want to be able to put on an old-fashioned wedding or put on a modern wedding or put on a farm wedding or a city wedding. So we're very open to outside vendors and parties that want to work with us.
Okay. What's your area? I mean, is there a certain distance you'll go from wherever you're at, your home?
We never discussed that, have we, Melanie?
Oh, so the sky's the limit still.
Oh my. I mean, I guess it depends. It depends on how far away it is.
Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
if you want a mountain wedding, I'm sure that we could do that.
Yes, I feel like if we're further though, our price point changes
Yeah.
because
Sure.
then that requires a lot more from us. So that's something the bride needs to take into consideration is where we're located and where they want to have their wedding. So we're located here in Raleigh area. So for us to go to say Asheville, a very popular place, if we go do a wedding in Asheville, then that's going to require us to travel to Asheville on certain weekends or weekdays and we would have to be compensated for our time to do such. So our price point for what the bride would be charged for our services would then increase. So
Okay.
that's just something the bride needs to consider if it's within her budget.
Okay. But you guys will sit down with them and say, okay, here it is. We're locating this area for your wedding for where you want it. This is what we're looking at. So you guys can discuss that.
Yeah, we have an
Hmm.
initial meeting with them and we kind of find out what it is they expect, what they want from us,
Hmm.
and we go from there.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we start with like a questionnaire for the bride because it makes it easier because there's certain questions that brides don't think that are important. And so we like to come up with questions for that bride to answer so we can get an idea of where the bride wants to start and where she wants to go with her wedding.
Okay. So what would be some of the craziest questions that you can think of for that list?
I feel like we don't have crazy questions.
But we do have questions that they don't consider. I can't think of. Let me see. We had a
We've got
question
like
here.
questions like do you want a child-free wedding?
Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
do you want what style wedding are you looking for? Do you want a church wedding? Do you want the ceremony and the reception in the same location? Do you want them separate? Do you have a certain theme that you want to keep to? Because we understand that some people are very specific in what they want versus others are just, I want a color or I want a particular flower. And we kind of give the bride like a little bit of a period where they can express what they want without having a specific question asked of them.
Hmm.
Because some brides have been planning this since they were in elementary school.
Right.
So
Right.
if that's what they want, then we want to know.
Yeah.
And we want to know before we get involved in doing all of the starting the planning
Hmm.
process
Hmm.
because that is a big factor.
And this is also the time where we let them know realistic budgets for what they want
Hmm.
because women
Absolutely.
tend to want the grand wedding and that price point for weddings is very expensive. Flowers are increased by 100% because you say
Oh.
that you want
Hmm.
flowers for a wedding.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
we try to come up with, but if we have a budget bride, we try to come up with budget friendly ideas for them.
Hmm.
So, that initial meeting is really where we find out everything we need to know, and so does the couple.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you said couple. Now, are you seeing where the groom is also participating in this, or how's that going?
Oh yeah.
Yes. As much as the groom says that he's not involved, the groom tends to be highly involved.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we
All
would
right.
get emails from grooms.
Yes.
You
So
know.
are they like approved questions from the bride, or is it like something like he's like, don't let her do this, please. Please think of this.
It can vary.
It's like
Okay.
half and half and half.
Uh-huh.
Half and half.
Yes.
Yeah, I could see that happening because each person has their own idea
Mm-hmm.
of how things
Mhm.
should go.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's where a third party like yourself would come in and be the mediator.
Yes.
Yes. So do you have to have a like a psychology degree in this to be a planner, or
You just have to be very patient and
okay.
Mhm.
understand that this is supposedly a once in a lifetime thing, and all they want is the perfect wedding, what's perfect for them, what they see perfect in their eyes. So
Hmm.
you do consider all the things that they say, because it is their wedding, it's not ours.
Hmm.
And
Right.
so if they come up with an idea, we let them know the logistics of that idea. We let them know the price point of that idea, and we let them make the decision if they want to move forward with that idea. Our
Mhm.
job is not to deter them from what they want, is to give them realistically what it will
Mhm.
cost and what it will look like
Hmm.
if they decide to go a
Mhm.
certain route.
Yeah, that would be
Right.
very embarrassing to plan a wedding thinking you're only going to spend 20 grand, and next thing you know, you get a bill for 60.
Exactly.
That could be
Mhm.
heartbreaking there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and you guys would have to be in the middle of that.
Yes.
I'm
Mhm.
so sorry,
Yeah.
but this is what you planned. But you guys go over the numbers, make sure
We
everything's
do.
figured out.
Yes.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes. Like if the bride wants us to find vendors for her, we can give her a list of vendors, and we like to do like a lower price point, a moderate price point, and then the expensive price point. So she can decide upon if she which direction she wants to go with that particular portion of the wedding.
Right. Yeah. Because I can remember in some weddings in my family, a certain family member would be willing to pay extra for the
Mhm.
photographer or a cake or whatever it might be.
Mhm.
Speaking of cake, what is the going thing today? As far as it used to be cake.
Hmm.
One of my daughters did donuts.
Mm.
She had a donut wall, and
Mhm.
then I've heard there's some other crazy things. What are people doing out there?
Oh my goodness, the list goes on and on. The wedding
Mhm.
cake is still popular, of
Okay.
course. I have gone to a wedding myself where everything was cupcakes. It was very pretty.
Mhm.
It
Yep.
was a cupcake table, and it was dressed so beautifully. It was delicious. It was a hit. I've had candy tables instead, because
Mhm.
you will find bride and grooms who don't like cake. So there's
True.
other dessert
Mhm.
options. Yeah, Melanie does not like cake. I'm
I
like,
don't like cake.
how? How?
So what'd you go with?
I had a cookie cake.
Okay, so there. Okay, there you go.
So she had a
Yeah,
cookie.
You had a
a little
cookie.
different, but
Yeah.
but that's what's fun about weddings is that you don't have to be, and especially nowadays, you don't have to be super traditional. So if you don't want something, you don't have to have it. And you don't have to have the something borrowed, the something blue. But some people want that, and we are there to help create creative ideas for that something borrowed, something blue. Like
Mm.
a cookie cake was a cake, still a cake, but
Right.
or cupcake or donuts, you still get providing a dessert. So that's what's fun is that you can do whatever you want. The sky's the limit. Well, I guess your bank account's the limit, but
Well, yeah.
uh,
There-
but the sky's the limit at the
Mhm.
same time.
Right, right. Yeah, I just know things are changing rapidly, and I notice in weddings they're coming up with all kinds of really cool ideas
Mhm.
and going outside the envelope of what it used to be
Hmm.
tradition. Now, is inside or outside kind of weddings, or is that a tradition going on, or where were they at today with those? Or is it a mix?
I think it's a mix.
There
It
is a
depends on
mix.
the time of year that
Mhm.
you're getting married. It plays a part.
Okay, so for this area, see, I'm from Michigan, so right now would be you'd be out in the snow,
Yeah.
and it's cold. So you'd have to think about. There are folks that do it,
Mhm.
but what during the summer versus the fall, winter, spring? Where does people going? What are they good? What are they doing? as far as
I feel
locations?
like spring and fall are very common for outdoor. Summer we still get pretty hot here, so
Right.
it's harder for the bride to do summer, but sometimes that's what the bride wants, and that's what you have to go with.
Hmm.
And even in the spring, you run the risk of having those spring showers, and it's just talking with the bride, and that's something that we plan with her as we progress and she chooses a venue. Is if it is an outdoor venue, we need to understand that we probably need to have a backup option,
Oh yeah.
and making sure that we have walked through what to do in the event of inclement weather.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm sure you could run into that for sure. That'd be have everybody with umbrellas out there doing their thing.
Yes.
Which, yeah, that'd be pretty crazy for sure. I've seen people do it out of airplanes. Have you ever had anybody say anything about airplanes yet, or skydiving, or
Oh my goodness.
Disney World, or anything like that coming your way? Or
No,
okay,
No.
but I would not be surprised.
okay. I'm just wondering how far people are going, for this area, is what they would come up with. Is there some types of areas here in Raleigh that you think people would like to have a wedding in? That would be a great place. That comes to your mind?
Mm. We did a wedding outside at the Raleigh Rose Garden in the spring. And just like Melanie
Hmm.
said, sometimes you may run into inclement weather. I think it rain a couple days before their
It rained
wedding?
like the day before, and then 2 days or 3 days before, and then it definitely rained the day before. And we thought that
Oh,
I think it was a 60% chance
Hmm.
of rain at the time of the ceremony.
hmm.
Yes.
And so we were very worried about that
We were
for
worried,
her.
and so we came up with a plan because the bride and the groom, they wanted it to be outside. So what we did was we ordered clear umbrellas from Amazon, and so if it was going to rain, she was going to pass out umbrellas to her guests.
Oh,
Because the
nice.
ceremony is really not that long. You go, you say
No.
your I do's, and then
Yeah.
it's time to party. So, just in case, she brought a bunch of umbrellas for them, and it still would have been pretty. It would have made for great
Hmm.
pictures.
Hmm.
Um, but it didn't rain. But she was prepared, and so she was able to send those back to Amazon and get a refund. But she had them on standby just in case because she wanted it to be outside where the
Hmm.
roses were blooming.
Hmm.
And she was a budget bride, so she used the roses as her backdrop. All she had to pay for was her wedding bouquet. She did not have any bridesmaids, and it was beautiful. It
It
was
Hmm.
was.
beautiful.
See, I'd never heard of that, but that's a great
Hmm.
idea.
Hmm.
And she did some arrangements for the reception as well.
Yeah.
But for the ceremony itself, it was just the backdrop of the venue, and it
Yeah.
was
Hmm.
beautiful.
Hmm.
Well, where's some of the venues people are going to around here?
As far as weddings or just where to eat.
Where to eat? Yeah.
Well, her wedding was her reception was at Cafe Luna. That's Italian.
Okay.
Hmm.
Delicious.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
A little plug for them. Good.
yes.
And I don't even know, because we've only done one wedding so far. We're
Hmm.
a fairly
Hmm.
new wedding planning company.
Okay.
Where did you had yours outside,
I
right?
did mine at the Paisley Barn in Benson,
Mhm.
and then I chose I could bring in a catering. So I was original, and I did Chick-fil-A for my hors d'oeuvres,
Oh, that's a great
and
idea.
then
Nobody
redneck
likes Chick-fil-A.
and redneck barbecue for my dinner. But I feel like there's so many locations in our area. There's a vast amount of different styles for you can keep it all in one location. I know there's a bunch of different inns and farms and
Hmm.
churches that have reception areas, or you could do like what the wedding that we did, where you have one location for the venue and then go to a nice restaurant that's downtown Raleigh. And it was gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous.
That's a good idea. I mean, thinking about that too. I mean, being that it's such a large population, it's over 1 million people just around the Raleigh area alone. And to get from one place to another, it can be a challenge for sure, especially the
Yes.
time of day, right?
Yes.
So I think what you just said there was where if people start thinking if we do both at the same location, it saves on the confusion and makes it just go a lot smoother for sure. That's a good idea. Yeah, because I'm used to you go one place, you go to a church or something like that, and then you find a place to have the reception at maybe a town away. But today everything's changing.
Yes.
Everything is nothing's the same.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
Yeah, now wedding venues are like a one-stop shop. You have your ceremony and then your reception.
All
In
right,
the same
good.
place.
In the same place. And that's a good idea, I think. I think that's a great idea. So what now you're working full time at the hospitals, correct? Or is it outpatient?
I work at an outpatient surgery center now.
Okay.
And I work in a hospital.
Okay. All right. So if somebody faints or something like that at the wedding, you got it covered.
We got it.
All right.
We got
this.
This is good. This is a plus. See, now you can add that in there for sure. But what if you could envision 5 years from now with Aspire Love? Where do you see you guys at? Where do you want to be at? Have you guys talked about a 5-year outlook plan? Have you got to that point?
We haven't done like a 5-year plan, but we've both discussed that we would absolutely love to be full-time wedding planners and part-time anesthetists.
Yes.
Okay.
That we really, really want to get this up and going and have multiple weddings a year. And that's something that we are striving for sure.
Okay. That's where I was going. I wanted to know if this is something that really, really is what inspires you to get up every day thinking, man, this is what I want to do.
Yes.
This is what I want to do.
I
want to make a difference in somebody else's life like that. That's cool. That's a great thing. If people like, let's say vendors want to get a hold of you for, hey, I got a service or I got a product that maybe you guys can use. How do they get a hold of you for that?
They can call us, either one of our numbers. Do you want those numbers or are you just asking?
Well, go ahead and say the number and then tell me if you got do you have a website or something or a place where they could go?
So right now we do not have a website. My number is 910-850-5517.
Okay.
My name is Nedra, Nedra.
All right.
And my phone number is 727-452-5019. And I am Melanie.
And you're Melanie.
Okay.
And
go ahead.
Go ahead, Nedra.
Oh, I was just going to say we also have a Facebook page.
Okay.
And you can send us messages through there. It's Aspire Love. Our Instagram is Aspire Love Wedding.
Okay.
And
they can DM us on there. And then we are developing a storefront through Wedding Wire and The Knot. So brides can find us through those apps or websites and find us there and message us through that location as well.
Okay.
And we also have email.
Okay.
Yes. Aspire Love Planning. That's ASPIRE Love Planning @gmail.com.
Okay. So they got a variety of different ways to get a hold of you. And I'll make sure that we put them in our notes too. So how to get a hold of you for sure. But just make sure that we mention that because a lot of times people might be driving down the road while they're listening to the show and like, what was that number again? Oh no, I forgot.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And they're like, I know this is the person I want to work with. So that's important. What are the kind of things that you want to let everybody know about you guys that I didn't ask?
Don't be afraid to reach out. I know that we only have one wedding under our belt, but as we stated earlier, we are great planners. We're personable. We're easy to talk to. We're excited. And that's who you want on your team. You want excited people who love to plan and who make sure that everything about your wedding is good for that day. And even if things aren't going as planned, you won't know it. Because we are that good. We are that good.
And I think it's also cool to note that even though that we are a newer business, that you get both of us, and we have the both of us that are available for every part of your wedding. It's not just a one person thing. You do get both our brains the entire length of the planning process, and especially on the day of. So, which really comes in handy if you do plan to have a wedding at one your ceremony at one location and a reception at the other.
That is correct.
Yeah, that is a good idea, because it can get very chaotic real quick.
It can.
I mean, I've seen where somebody had a plan made out, and somebody else in the parties, oh, we're doing this, and the other person saying, no, we go this way, and
Yeah.
nobody's in the right place.
Right.
Has anybody seen the bride and groom? No, I don't know where they're at. So you would stay on top of that, make sure that doesn't happen. That's
Exactly. And the services that we provide, we do partial wedding planning, full wedding planning, as well as a day of coordinator.
good. Okay, now you got to tell me the difference between those three.
So a day of coordinator is going to be someone where the bride plans everything on her own and then communicates with us who she is using as vendors. And then our job would be, as the day approaches, to ensure that those vendors are still on for that day and that nothing has fallen through the cracks, everything's okay. And then we will be there for the rehearsal to go through, making sure that everything is exactly how she wants it. And then we're there from the very beginning of the actual wedding day until the very end. And that's all that we would do with a day of coordinator.
Okay.
Now, a partial wedding planning is, I feel like it's more what most brides lean towards, where they can have input into their vendors, or we can provide a list. We go off of that. We secure the vendors, or we let the bride secure the vendor if she wants. But then we follow up with the vendors to ensure the bride is on time with her payments, that the contracts are signed, that everything that the vendor needs in order to secure them, that the bride has given to them, or we collect it from the bride to give to the vendor. We don't pay the vendor on behalf of the bride, but we ensure that the bride has paid those vendors. And then in that situation, we can also provide a list, like we were saying before, give a list of those vendors from least expensive to most expensive. Now, on the other side, you can have a more in-depth of a full wedding planning, where the bride really doesn't have a vision of to where she wants her wedding to go, and she wants us to create something. So we can come up with a color scheme, we can come up with a location, whatever, like we create an idea for her, provide it to her, and then she can decide if that's the direction that she wants to go. Now, a full wedding planning is more expensive than the partial wedding planning because we are required to do a lot more legwork for the bride. Partial wedding planning is more expensive than the day of coordinator because, again, we're doing more than what the day of coordinator would do. And then the day of coordinator is our cheapest option, but we are still very involved with the bride. We don't want things to fall through the cracks. So we're very involved no matter what service we provide to the bride.
That's important.
And I definitely want to say that you want at least a day of coordinator. Even though you may plan your full wedding yourself, you do not need to be responsible for making sure that the caterer's here or the chairs are here, because you should be getting dressed. You should be enjoying your day because you're about to get married. So you need someone on the back end doing all those things for you. And so that's the purpose of a day of. So at least have a day of, and you don't want a family member doing it. You want someone that is not, you want your family to enjoy your wedding. So you definitely need a day of coordinator.
Right.
Period.
Yeah, I think I've seen some of those movies where somebody gets involved and you wish they wouldn't have.
Yes.
So that's some good advice for sure. All right, cool. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on and sharing what you guys are doing out there. So if you're a vendor that has a service or a product that you think could help these folks out to be successful, or you are looking to have your wedding planned and put together and have two people that really care about what they do, Aspire Love is a place you want to go to. That's who you want to call. If you want any of the information, we're going to make sure we put it on our website. It's Bizlink Unscripted. I had to make sure I said that correctly. I will make sure we put those notes in there as well. And then they also shared it here on the show. So you could always replay it and hear it again too. So ladies, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
I had a great time talking to you. And I think I learned a few things. That's what it's all about right there.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Right on time there, 30 minutes.
Oh, snap. See?